You ever walk into a room and instantly know, deep in your bones, that you're about to be a lesson in other people's judgment? That was me, that Thursday morning, pulling up to my daughter's graduation in a navy blue camouflage uniform. So crisp, it practically glowed in the sunlight. Ironic, right? I'd spent an hour ironing that uniform, wanting every crease just right, knowing full well it wouldn't hide the scar running jagged from my temple to my jaw. That scar, well, let's just say it walks into a room before I do, and no matter how many creams or doctors I tried, it's not going anywhere. But today, I told myself, wasn't about scars or staring or the sting that comes when folks whisper like you're deaf. It was about my daughter, Maya, the one who'd waited through birthdays with an empty chair at the table, who'd done homework alone while I stitched up strangers a world away. So I forced a smile, told my nerves to pipe down, and made my way toward that gymnasium, clutching the program with her valedictorian bold as day, like the universe finally gave her what she deserved. Let me back up a sec. Walking in, I catch the first glance, then the second, and then the murmurs start swirling around me like gnats at a summer picnic. Is that a soldier at a graduation? Someone whispers, and another hisses, "Look at her face." I square my shoulders, held my head up, and pretended I didn't hear a word. You'd think after everything, combat hospitals, screaming kids, mothers weeping over their sons, and dusty tent side, be immune to a little hometown gossip. But it never really goes away, you know? Sometimes, small-town judgment hits harder than shrapnel. Inside, it was like any school event, kids tripping over their gowns, parents holding flowers, grandparents clutching balloons. My uniform, though, drew eyes like a magnet, but I wore it for a reason. That uniform was my proof of loyalty, sacrifice, of 1,000 hours fighting for folks who couldn't fight for themselves. Problem is, the scar shouts louder than the medals ever could. That scar, in case you're curious, came from a split second in Afghanistan, shielding a Marine kid from a grenade. I remember the heat, the flash, the coppery taste of blood, and waking up in a makeshift hospital, trying to sit up before the morphine even wore off because someone else always needed saving. No time for rest, certainly not for feeling sorry for myself. But people here, they just see ugly. That's the thing, battle scars tell stories nobody wants to hear at a high school graduation. I find my seat up front reserved for honors parents. They said, but I saw the discomfort when I sat down. The guy 2 seats over never broke his stare, his lips pursed like he tasted something bitter. Some woman twisted her body away, hiding behind her program. A little boy pointed, "Mommy, what's wrong with her?" His mom tried to hush him, but not fast enough for the words to cut right through me. My knuckles turned white around the program, the paper crumpling as I tried to focus on the stage. This was for Maya. I kept telling myself every missed birthday, every lonely night, this was me showing up. The room buzzed, but under it, you could feel something colder, like a storm was brewing. And then, just as the principal started his speech, I heard its harp, clear, meant for my ears alone. You'd think she'd cover up that ugly scar. The words slapped me so hard my vision swam. His wife laughed high and fake, then added, "Honestly, who wears that uniform to graduation? Trying to prove something." They wanted me to hear. I gripped the program tighter, feeling the sting of old wounds both on my face and in my chest. It's funny, the memories that crash over you when you're hurting sandstorms in Kandahar, blood on my gloves, the ragged breath of kids not old enough to shave. But I wouldn't let them win. Not today. Not when I'd already survived worse. That's when things turned. The air shifted, heavier somehow, like everyone in that room knew something was about to happen, but couldn't quite name it. The cruel man's voice grew louder. "Scars don't make you a hero, you know." His wife snickered. "She's embarrassing, that poor girl." I could have left right then, Ron, like I had so many times in my head. But I stayed, breath shaking, shoulders back, face uncovered. Let them see me. And then it happened. A sound cut through the humiliation, a row of boots scraping the floor, echoing off the bleachers. 15 Marines, in full dress blues, stood as one sharp, inhumanly synchronized, medals catching the light. The laughter died instantly. Even the cruel couple shrank in their seats, suddenly so small you'd think they might disappear. These weren't strangers to me. In fact, my brain tried to name them faces I'd stitched together under the hot glare of field lights. The woman I'd comforted through morphine after a landmine took her leg. The kid whose chest I kept pumping blood into until I thought my arms would give out. I remembered every one of their screams, every prayer I'd whispered, every promise I'd made not to let them die. One Marine stepped forward, a big man, square-jawed, eyes soft but serious. He raised his hand, slow and deliberate, and saluted me. The room stopped breathing. His voice, low and steady, cut through the silence. "Ma'am, with respect for every life you saved." No show, no applause, just the truth, simple and undeniable. I felt it land right in the middle of my chest, cracking something open I didn't know was still locked away. The other Marines didn't move. They just stared at the parents, those faces of judgment, now melting into shame. You could feel the weight of what they'd done, how small their words looked against the truth of sacrifice. I could barely breathe, tears burning my eyes, one breaking loose and sliding down the scar like a silver ribbon. I didn't wipe it away. I let them see. It broke something in the crowd. At first, no one said a word. Then a teacher pressed a hand to her heart. A student whispered, "She's a hero," and the hush became a roar. Applause erupted, raw and wild, rolling through the hall. For a second, I just sat there, stunned, letting the wave hit methanally. It wasn't about my scar or pity or shame. It was about honor, about showing up, about never letting the ones you love think you quit. I saw Maya then, half hidden on the stage, eyes shining, tears streaming down her cheeks. She broke formation, sprinted off the stage, cap flying, nearly knocking me out of my chair as she crashed into my arms. I squeezed her so tight I thought I might break her in two, but she just held on, sobbing, "Don't say sorry, Mom. You were always there, even when you weren't. You never left me." And in that wild embraces, car and gown, uniform and cap, mother and daughter, I fell whole for the first time in years. All the guilt, all the distance, melted in that moment. The Marines sat back down, faces soft with pride, their job done. The principal cleared his throat, voice warm. "This year's valedictorian isn't just the best student. She's shown resilience, leadership, and grace." He called Maya's name, and the place lost it. Maya's voice trembled when she took the mic, but she didn't break. "Thank you," she said, then turned to me, "for teaching me to fight for what matters, for being brave even when it's hard." Her medal glinted in the sun, and my tears finally ran free. When she stepped down, we locked eyes. No more apologies, just pride, just love. So, yeah, if you're wondering what matters, it's not scars or medals or the people who snicker behind your back. It's the ones who stand up for you when you can't stand for yourself. The moments you show up, even when it hurts, and the truth that sometimes real honor is silent, powerful, and impossible to ignore. Now I'd love to know, how would you have handled that moment? Do you think respect is something you earn? Or is it something we owe each other just for showing up, scars and all? Drop your thoughts below. I can't wait to hear your take on what real courage, real sacrifice, and real love look like.